Hi partakers, thank you so much for joining the Yotek session again this week. This is our time, a few 20-15 minutes just to talk about food and how best we can use it. So welcome to the show. My name is Amanda. Let's get right into it. In today's show, we are going to be talking about chilies in the food throne. Well, I know there are some people that love their food spicy, but those are not the majority in Uganda especially. We tend to love our food bland, and so we run away from too much of these spicy foods. But these spicy foods actually have lots of benefits that they offer us, and that's why I have red chilies in my hands today, because that's what we're going to discuss. So what's the exciting bit about red chilies? Why should we change from having more soft, bland foods to adding some of these into our diet or into our meals? Well, aside from adding flavor, I'm telling you the journey or the adventure of just trying on different spices every single time for each meal will get you more excited about your food, and you'll learn that there is more love to have between you and your food than has been before, especially your natural food. And then so they do definitely add flavor, but here's one important thing about them. You see, they have a lot of antioxidants in them, and we really promote or advocate for antioxidants in everyone's diet, sick, not sick, children, adults, because antioxidants are actually our protective gear when it comes to food. They're like our armor. They protect us from cell damage. They do protect us from having infections, you know, just running us over every other time. They really do sort of strengthen the body and make the body much more hard. Should I say hardcore? So, you know, we are not just swept away by any illnesses, and that's why we definitely do need these. But even for those that have illnesses, these actually help you to manage or control that illness, whatever it might be, and that's why we definitely need to add these into our diets. On top of that, they do help us to keep glowing because of those antioxidants that are keeping away all these contaminants in our environment. We definitely do need some of these. What is the downside to these though? Well, for chilies, because of their, first of all, you're not going to be using a lot of quantity of it, because it has a very intense flavor for a very small quantity. Something like this would definitely make your mouth burn if you're not used to chilies. So you might want to use very small quantities for your meals, but for those that have very sensitive stomachs, this might not be something you might want to do often, so do it once in a while. But also, even when you do it, use very small quantities and dilute the food, but do add them there because they will help you. So for those that have sensitive stomachs, have digestive disorders, say also ulcers, you might want to do this low-key and not, you know, full throttle. But if you do not have any of these digestive orders or issues disturbing you, then go ahead and enjoy all your spices and just feel the excitement of what they do bring to the table when it comes to improving our food quality. We are now heading into our discussion room, and what do we do here for the new people around here? In the discussion room, people send in their questions and then we get to discuss them, and all the most detailed responses you will find on the Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Amanda Twebaze-Nutritionist. But on the show here, we come back and do a recap of the lessons we have learned from what has been discussed on the Facebook page. So you definitely need to be a part of both these platforms. That's both here on TV, but also head down to the Facebook page and do join that family. Well, here is the first question that's coming in from Nisima Hanifa, and she was asking how to make salads. Simple question. Well, when we are dealing with salads, we always advocate, of course, for salads because they are a very integral part of improving our health. Vegetables, that is, and even fruit salads from the fruits, but and also nuts. How can we, you know, make these exciting for us? I think what I have found to help is if you have different colors of vegetables that you're going to use, or different colors of fruits that you're going to use, you'll find that your salads turn out much more beautiful and much more acceptable and appealing. Then also, don't cut the same shape or the same size for everything that you are putting into your salad. Cut different shapes, cut different sizes. Go explorative on it, be creative with it. Don't be confined to, I've always been told to slice round shapes and that's what you leave it like. Always have different shapes. You might want to have some rectangles, dice some squares, have shreds, also have, circles as well, and then chop maybe little tiny spots. But also avoid having very thinly sliced vegetables and fruits because you may not get the most out of them. You might actually lose some of the nutrients like vitamin C that is embedded in these fruits and vegetables. So those are a few things. For more, please head down to our Facebook page. Our second question is coming in from Jacqueline and she's saying, I love cooking. What does it need for someone to study home economics or foods and nutrition? Well, first of all, this is sort of like a hands-on kind of field. It's more about what you are eating. It's not a lot about the theory, and that's why you need to have passion for it. You need to drive yourself, and say, I'm going to deal with food and nutrition, but I need to be serving others. I need to be, excited about what I'm doing. Why do we need this passion? Because it's what's going to keep you going. With hands-on work, normally you'll get tired of all the practices that you have to, keep doing, or you'll get tired of, say, feedback from the people that you are communicating to, because you're going to be communicating a lot through home economics and a lot through food and nutrition just for wellness. So you have to be able to keep yourself grounded so you can notice what are people reacting to this like, and formulate messages around that. So passion is going to have to drive you, because if you don't have the passion, then you're going to fall out of the wagon quite early, because it demands a lot in this day and age. It demands for you to be creative. It demands for you to be able to speak to the people and speak things that actually relate to them. So you need to have the passion and be creative as well. And then also you're going to need to put a lot of emphasis on your biology, put a lot of emphasis on your food and nutrition studies, and put a lot of emphasis also on chemistry, because that's basically the sisters in this particular field that you are dealing with, to help, and also psychology as well, because that's what's going to help you to actually combine all these subjects and fields to create one comprehensive unit, or come up with a project as a creation of yours, because that's what the world is waiting for. What creative act or can you bring to them that actually doesn't just speak theory, but actually talks to solving the problems that are affecting our community. So that's it, Jacqueline. Just have passion and then focus on those subjects we have talked about, and then keep yourself grounded. The third question is coming from Orwa Jim, who's in Chireka. Hello, people in Chireka. Well, he was asking, what does one gain by eating raw onions? Well, there is a lot to be gained from raw foods, especially if you handle them and clean them well, because most times their nutrition content is still intact and hasn't been, probably destroyed or damaged, say by heat that sometimes we use when we are cooking, or say by how you handle them, maybe when you are chopping them up. So definitely there's going to be a lot more to benefit from having raw onions. You just need to make sure that they are cleaned out well, and also, we should know that there's going to be lots of fiber for you to benefit from in the raw form, and there's also going to be quercetin, which is also really important, very abundant when it's in onions, in the raw onions. So, and quercetin is an antioxidant that still helps to boost our immunities and fight off infections. So we definitely do need that, and yeah, so in the raw form, you're going to definitely benefit fiber from it, which means your stomach will be cleansed on a continuous basis. There will not be much bloating. There's going to be that quercetin we have talked about. So you'll see even your body start to glow on the outside, but also on the inside, you'll feel a lot more lively, because there's not much damage being acceptable in the body when you have these antioxidants that are coming from the raw onions. So do include raw onions into your diet. Let's head on into our fourth question. The fourth question is coming in from Baptiste, and Baptiste asks, what shouldn't I eat because I am blood group O? I also want to gain weight. Now, when it comes to blood group diets, I know we have seen a lot about them around, but when we are talking nutrition, let's try and make things as simple, first of all, to understand for us, and then as simple also to do, so that we can keep up with it and make it a lifestyle. If you want to go into so many complicated diets and go along with those, you might find that you'll do it for a short period of time and never get to see any results at the end of the day. So I would advise that don't focus a lot on blood group diets, because they are very restrictive. For every group that you will see, food groups that are allowed, you'll see little options for you to choose from, and that really sort of makes you boxed into eating probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 foods, and that's not going to be healthy for you. That's why I truly recommend that, number one, let's go to the food pyramid, and instead of, since you want to gain weight, instead of eating the food pyramid the way it is, how about you invert the food groups and then eat from down going upwards. And then also for the food diets, please let go of blood group diets and focus more on generally eating healthy, which means generally more plant-based foods, generally less fat, you know. The fourth question is coming in from Baptist, and Baptist asks, what shouldn't I eat because I am a blood group O? Also, I want to gain weight. Well, I know there have been lots of things that have been said about blood group diets and how helpful they are, but my problem with blood group diets is they're very, very restrictive, because they give you very few options to play around with, and that is not going to be something that you can do in the long run. Imagine just eating 10 foods your entire life. That's going to be hard to do, right? And so you'll find that you're being, first of all, very paranoid about food, and at the same time you are also not benefiting from some of the other foods that would really help you. So I recommend that practice a more generally healthy way of eating and diet. Say general rules like have more plant-based foods than animal foods, have less oils and fats, because there's lots more cholesterol and burden from fat to the body. So have more bland foods, and use cooking methods that are more easy on the body, like boiling, steaming, and probably baking and light frying. Have more water, more fluids, don't eat so much in the evening. Just general, diet guidelines, but don't go into really restrictive diets like this, because it will become very, very hard for you to keep up with, and you'll end up malnourished instead of actually having optimum nutrition. So let's focus on that. And then for gaining weight, please do include more of carb-filled foods, include more of healthy oil and healthy fat foods. Also, you could have these foods that have naturally occurring sugars in them, because that's a healthy way that you'll be able to gain weight. And instead of eating less in the evening, you are the person that now needs to eat more in the evening, because that is when you'll actually gain weight. Thank you so much, Baptiste. Let's head into our last question of the discussion room, coming in from Brenda, and she says, I need to get rid of dark spots. What can I do? So for dark spots, of course, there's those scars that have been formed now on your face, on your pretty face, and you definitely need to work on healing those and fading the scars. And some of the naturally occurring foods that actually do help is those that contain something or polyphenol called lycopene, and lycopene exists in those foods, vegetables and fruits especially, which are bright colored. So you might want to use those. Definitely eat them, but also one very good way is just apply it on those particular dark spots. So some of these foods are things like tomatoes, things like red bell pepper, things like yellow bell pepper. So you might want to get those and actually put them over the spots. just just massage them a little bit in there, the juice in there, and then let it stay for some time, and then wash it off. That would be like some form of a mask, and you'll see along the way that you'll actually start to see your skin evening out. Instead of having those dark spots, it's actually brightening a little bit to actually match up to the rest of your face. But you have to be consistent, so to be mindful of that as well. Well, that ends our discussion room. We are now going into the take of the week. The take of the week this week is coming from Diana Real Aikoru, who is also another member of the Facebook page that has really blossomed there and taught us a lot from her opinions and nutrition concerns. But this is what she's saying today. She's talking about diarrhea and how basically she deals with it. She says, "My African mom taught us how to make ORS locally using sugar, salt and clean water, and drink it like your life depends on it. That thing works for diarrhea." And I thought that was especially great, the part where she says, drink it like your life depends on it. First of all, kudos to African moms, because even without much knowledge, they actually do impart these skills and practices from a young age, and that's very important because that's what someone remembers even when they're old, and will use it, and it will definitely be passed on to the generations after. So please, if you have not started out as a mom to try and teach your children about healthy eating, about how to deal with some of these basic issues, say diarrhea and stomach pains that disturb us at home, you might want to start teaching them so they can do some of these things on their own, not be the type that runs to the hospital every single time for any small and big thing. Really, some of these have natural remedies that do the best job right at home. So let's be like all the African moms and just keep that tradition of teaching your children, because you actually equip them for living a better life as they grow older. But also the bit where she told us to make that ORS solution and then drink it like your life depends on it. Now, when you're dealing with diarrhea, you're losing a lot of fluid. So the part where she tells her children to drink it like your life depends on it means drink and drink and drink. So please, when you get diarrhea, endeavor to keep drinking and drinking and drinking fluid, because your body is depending on that to stay hydrated. Your body is depending on that to keep balanced. So that was it for the take of the week. Thank you so much, Diana. Let's head on into our wellness quote, and then I'll be saying my bye-byes. The wellness quote today says, fill your plate with colors of the rainbow. I know you might be asking how we're going to bring the rainbow down, but we'll be talking about that in a bit. So it says, fill your plate with the colors of the rainbow. What pleases the eye pleases the body. And I know some of you, another bunch of people, are going to be saying, what pleases my eye is a hamburger or chips or candy. But the colors of the rainbow means use colorful foods on your plate. Let your plate be filled with color. If you don't have color on your plate, then something is missing. So you need to have some red in there, have some green in there, have some yellow, have some brown, have some purple. Just fill your plate with as much color as you can. Say, let's have our plate. You could have eggplant in there. You could have cucumber is not so colorful, so let's go maybe with red bell pepper. You have some beetroot, you have pumpkin, which is orange. Just make sure your plate is colorful, because that's the best way you'll benefit from food, with all the important little chemicals that are in these foods. And then what pleases the eye definitely pleases the body. So these colors actually excite the eyes, and they are definitely going to do wonders when they get in the body. So in the natural sense, let's look out for the colors of natural foods that actually please the eye, and they'll definitely be pleasing our body. So fill your plate with color, please do not forget that. And then do remember that wellness is an adventure. Until next week, I will be seeing you very, very soon. Keep communicating on the social media platforms, the first one being YouTube. The YouTube channel is Amanda Tweba, the nutritionist. Then we are on Facebook as well. Facebook page name is Amanda Tweba, the nutritionist. On Instagram, I am Food Witness. And then my email is amanda.chichoncho@gmail.com. Well, if you'd like to also send in your inquiries on WhatsApp, it's simple, 0782 152610. Until next week, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.